Hi, welcome to Prime Recap. Sinister objects fall to Earth and reveal themselves to be an ultra-technological alien species of mass destruction that are trying at all costs to call for reinforcements from their race. Now the US Navy fleets will use their entire arsenal to protect the future of humanity. Today we will recap the story of the 2012 movie, Battleship. In 2005, scientists discovered a distant planet that has an almost Earth-like climate, and the following year, in 2006, NASA developed powerful transmission equipment that enabled us to start a program to contact the planet, which became known as Project Beacon. Every 24 hours, the NASA station, which is located in Hawaii, will transmit a signal to an orbiting satellite that will amplify and relay this signal to the target planet, which has been named Planet G on the island Oahu, located in Hawaii. Alex Hopper celebrates his birthday at a bar with his brother, Stone. They were talking about Alex's future when Samantha enters the bar, walks up to the counter and orders a chicken burrito. However, the attendant informs Samantha that the kitchen had already closed and Samantha gets very angry. After all, she had just left work and was starving. Alex gets up and goes to talk to the girl. In an attempt to impress her, he decides to go to the convenience store across the street to buy the chicken burrito. However, the young man arrived too late and the attendant was already closing the store. So, in order to complete his mission, Alex decides to break into the store and is caught by the security camera. The man enters through the ceiling, grabs a burrito from the refrigerator, and he heats it up in the microwave. Minutes later, the police show up and Alex runs out from the cops to deliver the burrito to Samantha, but before he could approach the woman, he is hit by a stun gun and crawls on the ground to get the snack to her. Although she is frightened by the situation, Samantha is impressed by the boy's determination. The next day, while listening to a lecture from his brother, Alex finds out that girl from the night before is the daughter of Admiral Shane, who commands the entire Navy fleet where Stone works. Stone holds the position of commander and can no longer afford to support his younger brother. Alex, despite being 26 years old, does not even have a job and lives on the couch in his brother's house. Stone decides to take him to work with him in the Navy. Despite being lazy, Alex is a very smart guy and soon becomes a lieutenant commander. A few years have passed and it comes time for Rimpac, the largest international maritime warfare exercise in the world. The event begins with a soccer match between the American and Japanese teams. The Japanese are leading 2-0 and Alex manages to score the first goal for the United States. With just 1 minute left in the game, Stone sends the ball to his brother, who was about to score another goal when he gets a hard kick in the face. Because of this foul by Nagata, a penalty kick is awarded to the United States, and Stone suggests that another player take the penalty, since his brother is injured. However, Alex insists on doing so and accidentally kicks the ball over the crossbar, leading his team to defeat. The next day, Admiral Shane announces the start of the Rimpac International War Games and Alex arrives late to the event. He intends to talk to Shane to ask for Samantha's hand in marriage, but his morale in the Navy is very low and the boy is afraid that the Admiral will not accept him as his son-in-law. While talking to her father, Samantha asks him to give Alex just 5 minutes of his attention, and the man, even though upset, decides to comply with his daughter's request. However, Alex does not seize this opportunity. Instead, he gets nervous and runs into the bathroom. While looking in the mirror and practicing his speech to ask for Shane's blessing to marry his daughter, Captain Nagata shows up and they get into a fight. Later, the two need to explain themselves to the Admiral and claim that it was all just an accident, because the bathroom floor was wet and they slipped. After resolving the situation and making the pair promise that this will never happen again, Shane asks the other men to leave the room so that he can talk to Alex alone. After scolding the boy, the Admiral asks if he has anything to say and Alex, once again, does not have the courage to ask his permission to marry Samantha. All fleets go to sea to participate in the first day of Rimpac war exercises. Soon afterwards, the Admiral also starts the air operations. While sailing, Stone goes to talk to his brother and informs him that he has just received a message from the prosecutor. The news is not good and Alex finds out that he will probably be kicked out of the Navy once Rimpac is over. Meanwhile, Samantha arrives at the Naval Physical Rehabilitation Center and soon meets Mick, a former lieutenant colonel who was removed from his post after losing both legs. The woman introduces herself as his new physical therapist and soon realizes that Mick is an extremely bitter person. The man claims that he lost the will to live when he lost his legs, because in that condition he cannot be a soldier and that is the only thing Mick knows how to do. In the face of this, Samantha invites him to go for a hike in the mountains. During the hike, the woman receives a call from her boyfriend and Alex informs her that he has not been able to reach her father. Disappointed, Samantha asks Alex to stop messing things up and the boy promises that he will resolve this situation. At that moment, Dr. Negrete, the scientist who discovered the existence of Planet G, and his assistant, detect the presence of 5 unidentified objects coming toward Earth. He immediately contacts Cal, one of the scientists working on the beacon project, and the man is terrified to discover that these objects are heading towards his signal. During the fall, one of these objects crashes into a satellite and changes course, separating itself from the others. NASA has verified that those things are not meteors, and the director advises Cal to get ready because those objects are heading in his direction, being attracted by the signal. Minutes later, 4 of those things fall into the sea in Hawaii and the 5th one ends up in Hong Kong, destroying almost the entire city. This catastrophe resulted in 25,000 deaths and caused billions in damages to the government. After analysis by the Chinese, Dr. Negrete had confirmation that this was an alien invasion, because the debris is made of elements that do not exist on the periodic table. Minutes later, the Navy spots an unknown vessel and Stone asks Captain Brownlee to send a team to investigate the thing more closely. So Alex, Cora, and Walter go there and are even more confused when they get closer. No one understands what it is, because they have never seen anything like it. Upon touching the object, Alex gets a shock and is thrown far away. His companions must rescue him from the water and return to the ship as the thing releases an energy surge into space, forming a force field around the area. Now, no one is able to get in or out of there and all signals have been cut off, making it impossible for the sailors to communicate with the base. The fighter plane is on its way to the site when it crashes into the barrier and explodes. As Walter tries to start the engines, a giant robot emerges from the water and emits a sound so loud that it hits the sailors who were hundreds of feet away. At that time, they identify that thing as a threat and start bombing it. However, the creature attacks back and drops dozens of bombs on the enemy ship. Walter manages to start it up, and as they return to the ship, Cora machine guns that monster. All the fleets unite to take down the robot and Stone's ship is the first to be sunk. A huge explosion occurs and all that is left is the wreckage of the ship. Alex sees all his companions die, including his brother. During the attack, Captain Brownlee and his first mate were also eliminated and Alex is next in line. Now he will have to command the operation and decides to attack with full force. However, Nagata's ship is destroyed and, against his will, but yielding to his team's requests, Alex decides to back out and go save the Japanese sailors who were in the water. Due to this deviation, they no longer pose a threat to the alien robot and therefore were not attacked. Minutes later, the creature sends some sinister metal discs to destroy the entire Navy base installed on the island. The discs crush the helicopters like insects, and then spread out over the rest of the island, destroying everything in their path. A curious detail is that the aliens do not attack living beings, unless the being represents some danger to them. After running over and destroying all the columns that support the bridge, a big accident happens and the road begins to collapse with the vehicles. No one is safe anymore, and the Navy tries to find a way through the barrier to help their comrades destroy whatever is causing that disaster. While climbing the mountain, Samantha and Mick spot an alien ship approaching. Seconds later, it lands near the camp where Cal and his assistant are. Some policemen follow the trail of the ship and go up the mountain in their cars to go after it. On the way, they find the duo and ask them to hide in a safe place, because the island was being attacked by aliens. Then the men continue on their way and Mick decides to go after them, because one of his dreams has always been to see an alien. So Samantha decides to accompany him. As the policemen approach the ship, the creatures feel threatened and attack the vehicles. After pulling his companions from the sea, Alex must come up with a plan to stop that monster. He has just become the commander of that ship, but has no experience in battle. While Alex is cooling his head, Walter appears and asks him to accompany him. When he arrives in the control room, he finds an alien that his men have pulled out of the water. After removing that monster's helmet, the team discovers that those things look like humans, but when Alex points the flashlight at its eye, the creature begins to twist and attacks the new captain. The sailors try to help him, but just then, the ship is attacked by other aliens who have come to rescue their companion. After completing their rescue mission, the ship leaves, but Alex realizes that there are still aliens on the ship. While searching for the intruders, Walter is surprised by the monster's arrival and orders his companions to leave that place. To his surprise, the creature does not intend to attack him, but only tries to destroy the power generators. If this happens, the ship will not be able to leave the place, nor even defend itself against possible attacks. So, to prevent this from happening, Walter decides to attack the creature with an iron bar and becomes a threat. At that moment, the alien begins to fight his enemy, and the two start a fight. Alex appears to help his friend, but the robot snatches the weapon from his hands and prepares to attack him. It is at this point that Cora springs into action and manages to attract the attention of that thing while Alex comes up with a plan. The man asks Cora to run to the control room and attracts the alien's attention to follow him outside. When the woman comes to control, she understands her captain's plan and manually aims the cannon at that monster's head, blowing its brains out. After a few minutes of walking, Samantha and Mick find the vehicles completely destroyed. Realizing that the situation is much more serious than he imagined, the man suggests that they leave the mountain. To do so, Samantha will have to get the key to one of the vehicles that was left behind. Knowing that this is her only chance to get out of the mountain alive, the woman takes courage and walks through the wreckage to get the vehicle key that was in the belt of one of the policemen. However, before they can get out of there, a group of aliens appear and survey the place once again. Since they find nothing that could present any danger to them, the group leaves. The pair then run to the police car, and while Mick tests the guns, Samantha tries to call for help over the radio, but can't get a signal. Suddenly, Cal shows up and tells him that the aliens were there because of the signal he sent in. During the invasion of the camp, they ended up killing his assistant. In a conversation with the world's top leaders, Dr. Negrady states that the aliens are trying to make contact with their home. So they are hacking into the satellites that humans have used to transmit the signal into space. If these creatures' plan works, all of humanity could be extinguished. While testing the alien helmet they took from the creature they had captured, Jimmy realizes that the equipment blocks out all sunlight. Therefore, he goes after Alex to tell him about his discovery. Jimmy has a pet lizard and has noticed that the alien's eyes are very similar to the animal's. With this, he theorizes that, like his lizard, the aliens cannot stand sunlight either. News about the alien invasion has spread in the media and many governments are already enacting martial law as a form of protection. Since they cannot detect the alien ship through radar, Nagata suggests that the sailors track the ship through the water displacement. They use the NOAA data to detect the water displacement signals and thus discover the enemy's location. The water displacement patterns indicate the direction in which the robot is approaching. Thus Nagata can project what its next move will be and plan the bombardment. However, the aliens are faster than the sailors imagined and change their trajectory of travel when they realize they are being detected. To prevent the monsters from being able to use the transmitters to contact their planet, Samantha suggests that they enlist the help of her boyfriend, because, like his fleet, he is capable of blowing up the entire mountain. However, the aliens are using an electromagnetic field to block the communication signals, and with the help of the spectrum analyzer, Cal would be able to contact the Navy. The problem is that this equipment is in his old camp, right where the aliens are. But to prevent the planet from being destroyed, Cal decides to risk his life to get it. He tries to go unnoticed by the aliens, but as he picks up his equipment and prepares to leave, the man ends up being seen by one of those things. Since he does not react or try to attack, Cal is not considered a threat and manages to get away unscathed. Meanwhile, in the War of the Seas, the sailors realize that they are now being attacked by two alien robots that are rapidly approaching the ship. They are bombarded in two directions at once, but, on Alex's command, manage to dodge the enemy fire. After several attempts, the troops finally manage to hit the robots, but the war is not yet won. Samantha manages to contact Alex and informs her boyfriend about the aliens' plan to establish communication with their planet. Every 24 hours the satellite is activated and there are only 4 hours left. Therefore, the Navy needs to stop them before this period runs out. Before long, communication is interrupted and Mick informs them that they need to get off the mountain soon, before the Navy blows the place up. The water displacement signals indicate that a new alien craft is approaching, and Alex plans to lure his enemies to the closest possible place to sunrise. Now that they have the upper hand, Alex and Nagata prepare to fire. They destroy the glass of the ship, causing the sun's rays to invade the vessel. Now, with the enemies bewildered, the sailors start bombarding them and manage to eliminate the robot. However, 2 metal discs have been sent to attack the ship and the sailors must abandon ship. Alex and Nagata are left behind and must escape during the attack. When the ship is about to sink, they jump into the water. Seeing that the ship has been completely destroyed, Mick and Samantha try to delay the aliens, since the sailors will not be able to destroy the mountain without a ship. However, Cal decides to stay behind, as he is no longer willing to risk his life fighting those things. The survivors use the lifeboats to get to shore. Everyone is frustrated because they will not be able to stop the alien invasion if the signal is sent. But Alex suggests that they bet their chips on the battleship, which had been retired for decades. That ship was built 70 years ago and is completely outdated. Walter doesn't even know how to activate it, since it runs on steam. Alex decides to enlist the help of his former heroes to get that ship up and running. Now the former sailors are back on the job and are the key to the success of the operation. The crew prepares a missile that will be sent to bombard the mountain and destroy the transmitters. At that moment, the mothership that was keeping the barrier active begins to move. Before the aliens begin their attack, Alex begins to devise a new strategy, according to him, based on the Chinese book The Art of War. The commander orders his crew to alter the ship's course and prepare the cannons. Just as the robots are about to attack, he orders the sailors to drop anchor, which causes the ship to undergo a sudden change of direction and manage to dodge the bombs. Now it is time for the attack, and the sailors unleash fire on those aliens. The creatures counterattack and manage to destroy part of the ship, but the sailors don't let it go easy and lead the enemy. With the mothership destroyed, the barrier is broken down, and Alex claims that after many years, he has finally been able to understand what Sun Tzu meant when he said to fight the enemy where he is not. But to his chagrin, Nagata reveals that that phrase means nothing of what just happened. The aliens who were on the mountain begin to send the signal to their planet, when Samantha and Mick show up to stop them. They run over the wires, interrupting the connection. The duo's plan is successful and the transmission is undone. However, they have an accident and Samantha has her leg trapped. As the woman is unable to escape, the former lieutenant colonel takes his cane and goes out to fight those monsters. They get into a fight and Mick rips the helmet off one of them. Since these creatures can't see in the sun, the man gets the upper hand and manages to punch the monster in the face. After taking a few blows, the creature manages to knock Mick down and tries to punch him while the man is still lying on the ground. Just then, Cal shows up and uses his briefcase to beat the alien to a pulp. During the fight, other creatures work to get the transmitter working again and the signal begins to be sent again. Meanwhile, the sailors team up to get the missile to the turret and begin firing. Cal helps Samantha get loose and the three of them seek shelter for cover. Just as they were about to launch the missile, Alex and Nagata realize that the mothership has sent discs to destroy their ship. That was their last cargo and they had no way to protect themselves. Alex gives the order for his sailors to bombard the mountain and everyone accepts their tragic end. But when they least expect it, fighter planes sent by Admiral Shane show up and neutralize the threat. In this way, the enemy is completely eliminated and all the mountain's transmission equipment is destroyed. Weeks later, the heroes who saved humanity receive their tributes. Among them is Mick, the former lieutenant colonel who thought he could never be a soldier after losing his legs. The President of the United States dedicates the Navy Cross to Commander Stone Hopper, who died in battle as a hero. Alex Hopper, now with the title of captain, receives the decoration on behalf of his brother. In addition, Alex also receives the Silver Star for his great heroism and bravery in combat operations. At the end of the tribute, the Admiral says he hopes to see him at sea commanding his own ship soon. Samantha takes the opportunity to ask Alex to talk to her father about the wedding. The man is still nervous, but after the latest events, he feels more confident. After all, facing Admiral Shane is nothing compared to a fleet of aliens. Alex then says that he is in love with Samantha and asks for the Admiral's blessing to marry her. Shane states that he will not give his permission for this marriage to happen and leaves, but soon returns and invites Alex to join him for lunch to discuss the terms of this marriage. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.